Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's lecture, we will study Ben Jonson. We will cover his life, major works, literary features, and his contribution to English drama in a clear and exam oriented way. So let's begin. Today, we are going to study Ben Jonson, one of the most important dramatists of the Elizabethan and early Jacobean age. He is generally placed next to William Shakespeare, but his literary approach was very different. While Shakespeare focused on imagination and emotional depth, Ben Jonson concentrated on intellect, discipline, and satire. He believed that literature should not only entertain but also correct human behavior. Ben Jonson was born in the year 1572, probably in Westminster, London. His father died before he was born, and his mother later married a bricklayer. Johnson himself worked as a bricklayer for a short time, but his life took a different direction when he received education at Westminster School. There, he studied under the famous classical scholar William Camden, who deeply influenced Johnson's love for Greek and Roman literature. This classical training shaped Johnson's writing style throughout his career. Johnson lived a very turbulent and controversial life. He fought a duel in which he killed another actor and was imprisoned. During his imprisonment, he converted to Catholicism, though he later returned to Protestantism. He was often involved in quarrels, literary disputes, and political troubles because of the sharp satire in his plays. Despite all this, Johnson earned immense respect during his lifetime and became the first unofficial poet laureate of England. Ben Jonson died in 1637 and was buried in Westminster Abbey. On his grave is written the famous inscription, O rare Ben Jonson, which shows the high regard people had for his literary genius. As a writer, Ben Jonson was highly learned and intellectually disciplined. He was a strong supporter of classical rules and believed that a writer must have proper education and training. He famously said that a good poet is not only born but also made through hard work and learning. Although Johnson criticized Shakespeare for lacking formal education, he also admired Shakespeare's natural genius. This shows Johnson's honest and balanced critical outlook. One of the most important concepts associated with Ben Jonson is the comedy of humours. This idea comes from ancient physiology, which believed that human behavior is governed by four humours: blood, phlegm, choler, and melancholy. According to this theory, when one humor dominates a person, it shapes their personality and actions. Johnson used this idea in his plays by creating characters who ruled by one dominant passion or weakness. These characters are exaggerated types rather than complex individuals, and their behavior becomes a source of comedy. Johnson's characters usually represent human vices such as greed, pride, jealousy, hypocrisy, and foolish ambition. Through laughter, Johnson exposes these faults and delivers a moral lesson to society. One of Johnson's earliest successful plays is Every Man in His Humour, written in 1598. This play established his reputation as a dramatist. It clearly shows the comedy of humours and satirizes social pretensions and foolish behavior. It is also important because William Shakespeare himself acted in this play. Johnson's greatest masterpiece is Walpole. Written in 1606, this play is powerful satire on greed and corruption. Walpole, whose name means fox, pretends to be on his deathbed in order to trick people into giving him expensive gifts. These greedy characters hope to inherit his wealth. Walpole is assisted by Mosca, whose name means fly. symbolizing a parasite. The play exposes how greed destroys moral values. In the end, justice is served and all the corrupt characters are punished. Volpone strictly follows classical principles and is considered one of the finest satirical comedies in English literature. Another major play by Ben Jonson is The Alchemist, written in 1610. This play presents a realistic and fast paced comedy based on deception. In the absence of their master, three cheats pretend to be alchemists and fool innocent people by promising them wealth, power, and success. The play highlights human greed, gullibility, and desire to become rich quickly. The Alchemist is admired for its perfect plot construction and its observance of the unity of time, as all events take place within a single day. Johnson's play Bartholomew Fair, written in 1614, presents a vivid picture of London life. It shows the chaos, hypocrisy, and moral confusion of society. The play especially attacks the false morality of the Puritans. Through this work, Johnson proves his ability to portray common people and everyday life with realism and humor. Apart from plays, Ben Jonson also wrote masques, which were a popular form of court entertainment. Masks combined music, dance, poetry, mythology, and elaborate stage designs. Johnson wrote many masks for the royal court and worked with the famous stage designer Inigo Jones. Some of his important masks include the Mask of Blackness, the Mask of Beauty. These masks increased his fame, though they also led to conflicts between Johnson and Inigo Jones over creative control. Ben Jonson was also a significant poet. His poetry is classical, simple, and deeply thoughtful. Unlike emotional outbursts, his poem shows controlled feeling and moral reflection. His famous poems include On My First Son, which expresses personal grief, To Celia, which is lyrical and graceful, and Drink to Me Only with Thine Eyes, which is one of the most popular love songs in English literature. A comparison between Ben Jonson and William Shakespeare helps us understand Jonson better. Shakespeare was romantic and imaginative, creating complex individuals with deep emotional struggles. Jonson, on the other hand, was classical and intellectual, creating character types that represent human vices. Shakespeare touches the heart, while Jonson sharpens the mind. In conclusion, Ben Jonson holds a permanent and respected place in English literature. He was a moralist, a satirist, and a master craftsman who believed in discipline and purpose in art. Through his plays, poetry, and masks, he exposed human weakness and tried to reform society through laughter. Though different from Shakespeare, Ben Jonson remains rare, influential, and unforgettable. This brings us to the end of today's lecture. If you found this lecture helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more English literature lessons. Thank you for learning with me. See you in the next class.